Right, well, welcome, ladies and gents. This is an article on Variety. And this is fascinating because, well, they're finally catching up, aren't they? Like, bravo, mainstream media. You're now finally saying what we've been saying for a while. Bravo. You got there in the end. Disney's harsh new reality, costly film flops, creative struggles, and shrinking global box office. Sorry, late to the party. But at least you got here in the end. We've been saying this for a long time. But Access Media were reluctant to say anything because, well, they want to keep their access. So let's take a look at this because this is fascinating. You've got to give some props, I guess, that they're finally saying it. I mean, you know, this is the talking points we've all been parroting for some time, and now finally you're getting there. But it also means that more eyes will be on this, and Disney may finally shake up and change stuff. It's not a bad thing that this information becomes more mainstream. It's just not. So hit subscribe if you're new here. Give the video a like and a share. Thanks in advance. Check out the second channel. I've got a podcast. I don't know if you knew that, but it's linked down below in the description box. Mistakes, reviews, live archives. Check it out. Anyway, so past decade, Disney has been the Teflon movie studio, which, yeah, again, stuff which I've been saying. They were the name in family entertainment. Remarkably adept at withstanding the tectonic changes impacting the film industry, and well fortified by properties such as Marvel, Lucasfilm, and Pixar. But this year, the long-reigning titan of the box office has shown cracks. Not just cracks. Oh no, bombs. And that's because 4 of its biggest releases from those brands have struggled. Now, what are they? Well, Ant-Man and the Wasp didn't make any money at all. Now, they say a rare Marvel movie to likely lose tens of millions. No, try hundreds. The Little Mermaid, a remake of a classic that people like, and they remade it terribly. They fell drastically short of expectations. No, that still lost money. Elemental, an original story that tried and failed to recapture Pixar's magic. Again, budget of $200 million, opening weekend of sub 50, terrible box office. And then you got Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. Nearly 300? No, try $350 million investment. That is the highest spend that Lucasfilm has ever had on a movie. Upwards of $350 million. And they say it's nearly $300 million investment, again 350, in one of cinema's most venerable franchises, which no longer appears to have the same hold on today's audiences. Yeah, I wonder why. On paper, these films seemed like they had all of the makings of huge hits, but how has Disney sparkle lacking? I wonder how. What is the mainstream media's outlook on this? Barring a miracle, or a sudden surge of interest in all things Haunted Mansion, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 looks like it'll be the studio's biggest earner of the year, with $835 million. Only, going into profit. Like, it's not huge profit, but it went into profit for sure. And yeah, my predictions of it being a bomb, it was wrong. I liked that film, by the way, but opening weekend was not strong. And it's the first time since 2014, except for the pandemic, that Disney won't have a movie that reaches $1 billion. Hopefully a harsh wake-up call for them. Now, it also marks a shift from 2022, which saw the studio release not only hits like Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, and Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, but also Avatar: The Way of Water. Now, I think what's important here is that as well, we've just had a report now that Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness had a budget of $100 million more than previously thought. Again, just the budgets are too high. They're too high. But in fairness, it doesn't really matter what the budgets are now because they're bombing at the box office regardless anyway. Now, even if that's the case, Disney still far outranks the competition in terms of market share, commanding 37% of the industry's revenues. But it doesn't matter whether that revenue is not, who cares whether it's 37% of revenues if of that 37% there's barely any percentage that is actually profit. Who cares? Universal actually makes money. But ticket sales for films it has produced have been far more earthbound, especially compared to the last pre-COVID year, when Disney fielded a record 7 movies that crossed the $1 billion mark. And that's the aim. It's this $1 billion. That's what they keep striving for. That's the new $100 million, right? They want $1 billion. They have budgets to hit $1 billion to make profit. You just can't keep doing it. It's ridiculous. There are other issues bedeviling the Magic Kingdom these days because of its tentpole all the time strategy. Disney movies require production budgets of at least $200 million plus marketing costs of roughly $100 million. $300 million to make a movie. It needs to earn $600 million to break even. There you go. Done. Easy math. Awful. What an awful business model. That means the studio films have a higher benchmark than its rivals to break even at the box office. Again, this is just everything we've already said, but finally, mainstream media is saying it. In the past, those budgets were justified with movies that crossed $1 billion worldwide with ease, and now those price tags are riskier in today's box office landscape, with China's dollars no longer a guarantee due to tensions with the West and changing tastes. Oh dear. As a result, the international box office has diminished to a shadow of its former self. And that has major consequences for Disney's profitability, yes, but also you're going to see theatre chains absolutely going ballistic at this, because if they're not making money, I mean, they don't care if the studio's making money, they could not give a toss. Theatre chains have to make money as well. You know, we have to have a venue to watch these films. Ridiculous. Now check this out. To be fair, every studio is grappling with these punishing realities as the box office remains down roughly 20% from pre-pandemic times, but Disney has historically enjoyed such a track record of success. Yeah, not anymore. And you get the normal analysts coming in and saying all this kind of nonsense. But what is it? What's happening? The problem is that getting the costs under control will take time. No, it won't. Major movies take at least 3 to 4 years to develop, produce and distribute, a lifetime in a fast-changing industry. Yeah, even if Disney is serious about tightening its belt, it may not make a noticeable difference until 2026 or beyond. Basically, if they don't go bankrupt before then, they might finally have a chance of keeping their budgets down. Unbelievable. Some of these bloated budgets on 2023 releases reflect the tens of millions that were racked up from pandemic delays and enhanced COVID testing. In fact, it was roughly 25% additional on top of the budget. That should ease as the pandemic becomes less disruptive force, which should be a key to cost savings. Beyond that, there are questions about where else Disney may save money. Will be in marketing, movies, and producers, and cutting back on special effects. Yeah, don't cheap out on those special effects because they look shit as it is. If you cut costs, you degrade the quality of the product, says Brandon Nispel, an equity research analyst. If you spend less, do people like the movies you're making less? And how much and how fast can you start cutting? It's got nothing to do with that. I just think this is hilarious. Like they're finally saying what we've been saying for ages. Pixar suffered the most from that mindset. Analysts believe that the animation empire has been struggling since the onset of COVID, when several of the titles went to Disney Plus, trained family audiences to watch these movies at home. No. It's re-entering the theatrical ring with heightened competition, blah, blah, blah. It's got nothing to do with that. Again, people are just checking out from these things. Pixar is becoming an anemic brand. It's fallen so far from the days in which it was anything it would release would blow the doors off. Star Wars 2 has lost its luster. Oh, has it now? We've been saying that for a while as well, haven't we? Dead brand. We get laughed at when we said this. Now mainstream media is saying it. Every key point here is what we've been saying. Every key point, ladies and gents. Disney's film business has long been an important stabilising force. The studio dwarfing the competition has been a very successful formula that Disney has deployed. Not so much leaning into nostalgia as diving in headfirst. Disney desperately needs to create something new. Yeah, we've been saying that. It does a good job at cannibalising itself. They remake their movies and echo what they've done in the past. At a certain point, there won't be a whole lot for them to echo. I've been making videos like that for ages. For goodness sake. Oh dear, oh dear. The Little Mermaid barely hit the 500 million mark. So there you have it. Isn't this funny? They're finally getting it, ladies and gents. What do you think? Roasted by mainstream media.